The United Nations must continue to preserve peace, prevent conflict, and alleviate human suffering. And we embrace nations stepping up to lead in new ways and to seek new breakthroughs on hard issues. For example, on Haiti, the Caribbean community.
A ton of views about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. You don't want to miss out on this, so here it is. Gas prices are continuing to rise again, and now, many advocacy groups are urging the president to take action, executive action, and send out inflation relief checks to Americans. This could be a one-time payment for so many people. New stimulus checks worth more than $400 are going out to hundreds, if not thousands of people. The Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry announced that applicants who chose direct deposit will see their checks within 10 days. The Minnesota Governor, Tim Walz, said at the Direct Payments and News Conference on October 3rd that I'm grateful for the work of Minnesotans did to help people across the state today and stay healthy and safe through the crisis. Frontline workers are an important part of the fabric of our state and help us continue functioning during this time. The Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry announced that applicants who chose direct deposit will see their checks within 10 days. However, you could see your payment within 3 to 4 weeks if you chose to receive the compensation via debit card. Applicants who applied should have received an email informing them if they were approved or denied for the one-time payment. And the temporary commissioner of the state's labor department said that the industry and the money is subject to federal income tax, but not the state income tax. And lower gas prices in Minnesota, along with cheaper used cars, slowed inflation for a second straight month. But new inflation reports have actually painted a far rosy picture as many other items increased in prices. Consumer prices surged 8.3% last month, down from 8.5% from a year-over-year increase in July. Inflation is still painfully high as food and energy prices remain volatile, but is down from the 4-decade high of 9.1% in June. In the Midwest, inflation rose to 8.1% in August of 2022, and used vehicles are declining, but still remain about 7.8% higher than as at this time last year. Airfares are declining as well. As major oil companies actually plan to slash production, U.S. gas prices may rise again, with some states potentially feeling the burn more than others. The Alliance of Oil-Producing Countries announced it will cut production by 2 million barrels per day starting this October, a move that may put further upward pressure on gasoline prices. Even before the group's decision, gas prices had already started ticking up across the nation after briefly declining again, and the national average gas price stood at $3.89 as of Friday, up from $3.80 from the week before. Illinois residents have just 8 days left to claim this $700 check, everybody. The tax rebates are part of the state's family plan. It was introduced by a bill from the state senator, and it was who passed the legislature earlier this year. The bill sets aside millions of dollars for those who filed their taxes in 2021 to help with the increased costs caused by the crisis and rising inflation. The senator told reporters that from crisis losses to the increased cost of living, families are facing some food insecurity and are in financial distress. So as a General Assembly, we recognize the daily struggles of hardworking people and pass this bill to help so many people out. So eligible residents have until October 17 to file for last year's taxes to receive the payment. And the amount each person receives will vary depending on the taxes filed. So hopefully people can get the stimulus check that they so desperately need.
And in our note today, we highlighted 5 points to investors why we think sentiment for the group really reflects a lot of the risks that we see. And when you look at the stock price declines we've already seen for this group, down more than 50% year to date and twice the market's decline. When you look at a couple of the bellwethers like Nike already having lowered the bar for the group, in our opinion, we think a lot of the fundamental risks may be in the stocks here, and it certainly requires a certain risk tolerance. We expect a lot of volatility to continue, but in our view, we see some opportunities emerging more on a 3 to 6 month basis.
You like a couple of shoe companies, not including Nike, which is, of course, way much more than a shoe company, but Deckers and Crocs, which are largely in that area.
Yeah, that's right. So to be clear, we do like Nike, maybe not as much in the short term as the 3 we highlighted today, given some of the challenges that brand has in China. But the 3 we highlighted all have...
Debner, a tax expert for Jackson Hewitt. Next year, a lot of things are put into place for 2021. In some part of 2020, will revert back to its pre-crisis years. It can lead to a refund shock or even more importantly, balance due shock. In addition, some new regulations were put into place. Student loan forgiveness, for example, is exempt from federal taxation, and borrowers in some states owe taxes. One of the changes is that the standard deduction for 2022 is higher. It's typical for the standard deduction to increase a little each year, along with the rate of inflation, for your 2022 tax return. The standard deduction for single filers has been increased from $12,000 to just $12,950. That's up by $400, and it has bumped by $800 if you're filing married jointly. The standard deduction is what most taxpayers will simply have with their simple tax return in order to claim and reduce their taxable income. Income tax brackets are also higher in 2022. For 2022, income tax brackets were also raised to account for inflation. Your income bracket to how much tax you owe, based on your adjusted gross income, is the money you owe before taxes are taken out. And while the changes were slight, if you're at the bottom of a tax bracket, you may have bumped down to a lower rate for your returns. And while 2021 had a temporary expansion of the tax credit, including eligibility for more dependent credits and offering advance payments, it isn't the case for your 2022 taxes. The child tax credit has already dropped back to its pre-crisis amount, which is $2,000 per child, and now available to people 17 and under. The credit, which was fully refundable last year, is only refundable for a certain amount of people, meaning not everyone gets a stimulus payment this time around. Offering an important note that you can still claim the tax credit in 2022. It may help boost your refund and offset a tax bill. And while federal benefits have decreased, the states are offering child tax credit benefits this year and next. The governor of Vermont has signed a tax cut package, and it will send $1,000 to every child 5 and under to Vermont households making $125,000 or less. And with federal stimulus money spending flooding into the states and boosting tax recipients, the Democrat-controlled legislature and Republican governor agreed on something that they're usually at odds over. It's cutting taxes. The House initially sought to spend nearly $50 million, almost entirely dedicated to the tax credit alone. The Senate responded with a $36 million package, only $22.5 million of which would have gone to the credit. In 2022, lawmakers in New Mexico and New Jersey even created the new child tax credits. And now, like California, Jersey, and Vermont, credits are permanent, and with New Mexico scheduled to expire in 2027, people will be receiving stimulus money for a long, long time. And despite variation, these state credits represent a meaningful first step in enhancing economic security and general well-being of children across the country. The lawmakers can reduce child poverty in their states by enacting and enhancing state credits. And this the end, everybody, for stimulus payments, or will it be more stimulus payments in 2022? I'm not sure, folks, but one thing I do know is that stimulus payments must do more and must be sent out quickly.
America, it's personal for so many of us and our families. This is the tie I wore to my daughter's wedding to her wife. Trying to not spill anything on it, which I often do, but so far so good. And my daughter and her wife are expecting their first child, my third grandchild, next spring. I want them to raise their child with all the love and security that every child deserves. Thanks to the dogged work of many of my colleagues, my grandchild will live in a world that will respect and honor their mother's marriage. And look, nothing about the respect for marriage was inevitable. On the contrary, it took a lot of faith and some risk-taking to get to this point. When I made the choice to delay, I had to rely on